What up, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing episode 3 of Dragon Ball Daima, and we're going to be going through what happened in this episode and some new information that we got in this episode. Now, this episode is kind of like last week's episode where there wasn't that much happening in it, and it was more simple and straightforward, but it was still pretty entertaining and enjoyable. I really liked it. I liked it a little bit more than the last episode, if I'm being honest, because the last episode, there was even less than in this one. And also this one, we did get to see quite a bit of action in it, especially towards the end of the episode as a whole. But there was also a bit of new stuff that we got to learn from this episode and some interesting things about the lore, which I'm really loving that about Dragon Ball Daima. The fact that they're not only going into talking about the demon realm and these other dimensions in the Dragon Ball cosmology, but also giving us more lore and backstory about, the cosmology and how things work and the world building as a whole, which I think is very important because the biggest problem that us as Dragon Ball fans have with, Dragon Ball as a whole is the fact that it's been around forever. It has many episodes and stuff, but we don't get that much explanation on the story. Hell, we still don't even know much about Frieza and his race. What are they called? Or, how their society was. We don't know even about Boo and his entire backstory and stuff like that, which it kind of sucks because this story has been around forever, and we just really haven't been getting that much, in deep or in depth lore and understanding about the world itself. A lot of other series, when they do world building, they do it pretty quick and early on. Whereas Dragon Ball, they do it sometimes, but then there's a lot of stuff that we don't know still to this day, and it's been. This is a series that's been running for over 4 decades. Yes, it wasn't constantly running, but it was, going on for quite a bit, and we haven't been getting that much new information, especially like in Dragon Ball Super. I thought they were going to give us more information about the world and the cosmology. We got a little bit more understanding. I will say that, but it wasn't to the extent that I wanted to. But this one, they did really good. Now, before I get into the review itself and talking about the episode as a whole, I do want to give a big shout out to a new subscriber of mine by the name of Ricardo. So big thank you to you for subscribing to the channel. Now, let's go to this episode as a whole. Like I said, it's like the last episode where there wasn't a ton of stuff happening. It was just setting up and building up more, for the show as a whole. But it was more entertaining because we had more of a fight and we had a bit of more of an explanation since they went to the demon realm. Now, after that, we literally started right off of what happened after they left with Grollo, or I think his name is. So Goku and Supreme Kai leave with him, and as they're leaving, they are trying to get to the demon realm, but they can't just transport to the demon realm. They have to go to this thing called Warp Sama, which was that big fish-looking creature. So they have to go to him. It's basically, he's like a warp gate that allows them to enter from this realm to the next. So if they want to go to the demon realm, they cannot just go through, using just flying or through a technique like teleportation, which is kind of weird because Goku and even Supreme Kai and Kibito are able to use their teleportation technique to go to the living world, to go to the afterlife, go to heaven, go to the Grand Kai's planet, go to the Supreme Kai's world, which is a dimension outside of the Dragon Ball cosmology as a whole. But and even hell, he could go to even hell, but apparently they can't use teleportation to go to the demon realm. I don't know why the demon realm specifically they need to transport through the Warp Sama, but apparently that's what they have to do. So they have to go through him, and he's not everywhere. They can't just find him everywhere. He's at certain places that there's like check-in stations. So certain planets and certain, I guess, galaxies have these Warp Samas there, which allows them to travel from the demon realm to the, living realm and the other dimensions, and then back. So Grollo finds one that's close by. It's this other planet that kind of looks like a peanut. It looks pretty cool. We see it a little bit in the trailer and a bit I'm pretty sure in the introduction song, but it looked pretty cool. And this was the closest planet to Earth that had this warp zone there. They went over there, and Supreme Kai said, first, before we go in, let me just relay this message to Kibito. So he telepathically communicates it to him, telling him, hey, you have to go to this check-in station right here if you want to get through to the demon realm. And as they're talking to it, there's two things that was pretty interesting. One was pretty funny. The other one was pretty interesting. Apparently the pin number that they had, this wasn't something that they had back in the past when Supreme Kai was there. He said that they never had a pin number, but remember, Supreme Guy is over millions of years old, so he probably was like millions of years ago the last time he was there. So it makes sense. But yeah, Grollo was like, yeah, you need a pin number to go through there, and also you can only be a demon to go in there. So for them to get Goku in there, they had to kind of hide his ear. The other two obviously were demons, so they saw the pointy ear. He was gonna let them go, but then the third one was Goku, and somehow Supreme Kai used his power to grow Goku's ear and make him have pointy ears, so he kind of looked like a little elf or a little imp. But that tricked him and allowed them to go through there. But before that, Goku started kind of pissing off Warp Cell and kind of mocking him, saying, "You look like a goldfish." Keep on mentioning the fact that it's a goldfish. A goldfish. He's like, "Stop it! You're pissing him off." And then he said a different type of goldfish. He's like, "That's still a goldfish." So I thought that was pretty funny. But also they said he's kind of sensitive and he just allows whoever he wants. And if he doesn't like it and if you hurt his feelings, he won't let you. So they go through him. But then Supreme Kai is like, oh shit, I didn't know that we needed a pin number because we never needed it before in my past. So I need to relay this message to Kibito like when we told him about the check-in station. But sadly for him, he didn't have enough time to relay the pin number. So we don't know if the rest of them are going to be able to get through there. There might be some problems there for them and it might take a little bit longer. Goku did say that, I have a feeling that they would be able to do it. I don't know how, but apparently they're going to need to find a way to get the pin number to get into there. Maybe somebody else might come there to help them out. Maybe there's a little demon girl that they've shown with a Grollo. Maybe she goes out to there to help them out too. Maybe something about that. But as they go in there, they go into that one weird area once when they transport into its mouth. And as they get there, they're like, what is this? Goku's like, what is this place? He's like, oh, well, this is an entrance that you can't just automatically go to the demon realm. You have to select where you're going. And they're like, what do you mean by select where you're going? So apparently this is a little bit more of a lore and it's pretty interesting. He explains that apparently that there are 3 different portals or 3 different worlds you can go to in the demon realm, which is really unique. When we've heard about the demon realm, we didn't get that much, explanation throughout all these years that Toriyama's, mentioned these different realms. He never stated that there was additional stuff. So apparently in the demon realm, it's not just one demon realm, there's 3. I don't know how it fully works, the structure. Depending on how it works, it could change cosmology quite a bit. And if it isn't, then it could just change it a little bit. But apparently there's 3 demon worlds. There's the first, the second, and the third. And since Grollo is from the third one, he only has access to the third. He can only go to the through the third. And he also explains what the first, second, and third are basically are. The first is the highest demonic level and dimension. If you go there, you're like the highest standard of a demon. And they're like the political officials, like, the top level ones, like royalty and stuff like that. The second one, they're like they're still top level, but not as top level as one. So though some of them are. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. So they all have to go to their initiated worlds, the first, second, or third. And depending on where their status is, they can, move from them. But most of them are just going to be stuck in those places. So the first can go wherever because they're the top of the top. The second, some can go through the first and other ones, but that's only few. And then, but the second as a whole, they're really top level. And then the third is the lowest level, is the bottom tier. It's basically I guess the low-level grunt people, and they shouldn't be able to go to the other ones, except for, I guess, Grollo, because he mentions that he works in the first one, and we've seen him in the first one, because that's where King Goma came from. And also he acknowledged that King Goma is strong, but the fact that they beat Majin Buu means that they're stronger than him, so that's why he did the whole transferring them into kids thing. But that was pretty interesting that we got the whole explanation about the demon realm and having these 3 different sections that you can go through, and then the classifications there. So they go through the third one and they end up there. It looks pretty cool. It's basically like, the mountain ranges that we usually see in Dragon Ball, but they have like floating rocks and floating volcanoes, and they're flying around. They have different creatures, and they're talking about how interesting this realm is and stuff, and Goku wants to get off. He wants to breathe in some fresh air and, move around. So they do land down to get a better feel of the place itself, which there's a little bit more to there. But before I get into that, I do want to talk about the other 3 dimensions, or the other 3 worlds in the demon world, because I know they have 3 kings in all of them. And for some reason, they have the statue of Dabura in the third one. I'm pretty sure he should be in the first. Maybe it's because since he's the one in the first or the top one, that his his prestige goes throughout all the other worlds, even though they're not directly connected. But there is also something else there that makes the cosmology a little bit more interesting. But the fact that there's 3 worlds, it really depends. make the cosmology more impressive, or it could, just have something unique. What I mean by that is, depending on if these three worlds are complete separate universes as a whole that they can interconnect and go through, then that would mean that the demon realm is not just one universe, because we've got explanations from Toriyama that the demon realm is basically just a mirror image of the living world, so it's another universe. So usually when we do power scaling, and like I have been doing with Dragon Ball Super power scaling, I mentioned the fact that there was multiple other dimensions, and most of them are either the size of the universe or almost the size of the universe. And the demon realm is one of them, which is considered to be a parallel of the living universe, meaning they will be universe size. But since now we got a mention of three different ones, it could really depend. It could mean that all three of these demon realms are basically mirror images of the living universe, making it the demon realm composed of three universes, three whole universe-sized dimensions. So that would upscale, whether it's power scaling or just the cosmology as a whole, that'll upscale it, because that means now not only is the demon realm the same size as the universe, but there's three of them. So that means there's three universes right there. Or it could mean that it is actually just the size of the living universe, so one universe, but split into three different sections of that universe that are interconnected. But I'm going to lean more to the three of their own ones, because there is something that does connect them, but they are, but it's kind of like a portal, I'm pretty sure, and they're pretty much, if they were interconnected, then they would need something specifically to separate it. But it really depends. Like I said, it could either mean that the demon realm composes of three different whole universes, the first, second, and third, or it could mean that it's just one universe that is sectioned off into three different parts, which would make it still just one universe, but still interestingly written to be, three separate sections of that universe. So like I said, it could depend. If it's the three universes, that upscales the cosmology. If not, if it's the other one, then it's most likely doesn't upscale it, but it does put a little bit more interesting understanding on the cosmology as a whole. But as they come there, Goku gets out. Goku mentions how his body is kind of hard to move with his body. He's kind of slow, and the air kind of smells a little bad. And Grolo basically explains to them, saying that in the third world, on these floating rocks, there's volcanoes, and these volcanoes spew out gas. And as they spew out this gas basically slows down anything in it. So the people and the objects and everything in this world are basically slowed down by the volcanic gases. So if we see Goku fighting and he's kind of slower or is not as impressive, just know it's because of the gas itself. So now not only does Goku have to he has to fight with the child body, so he's has a shorter distance and has imbalance in his control, but also it'll be weaker body. But now also he's on a planet or in a realm where basically it's covered in this type of gas that slows you down extra. So that will put an extra hindrance on his power. So we see him struggling against certain characters. That's most likely the reasons why. So he's kind of going to be a bit at a disadvantage. But knowing Goku and how skillful he is and how great he's trained, like how he's done on King Kai's planet, clearly he's going to be able to train and, surpass whatever problem is here. Because as he was moving, he's like, I'm trying to get more used to this planet and the gas and everything. And I was like, that's really good. That's smart, because Goku, at this point, he knows that he's in more at a disadvantage physically. Even though he's still very powerful, he's very at a disadvantage, and he wants to work and train on it. So he's prepared, which is really good. But they're walking around there. He gets attacked by these guys. They're trying to shoot arrows, but the arrows are really, really slow. They go down really fast, and he's dodging them. And then Brolo just comes out and starts dodging them and pulls out his gun, which it looked pretty cool. And he started blasting at them and stuff. He basically got them to back off, and then they're like, whatever. So then they're going to go down to the village. He's like, we're going to get a hotel or a motel, whatever. We're going to get someplace to sleep. And then because it's kind of late, and we're going to go. And as they're flying with the ship, we see the volcanoes erupting, and they have to go slow because he said if they go too fast, the wind resistance will basically tear the ship apart because of how much resistance there is, more than our world, which I thought was also really good writing, because it showcases the more analytical side of the writing. Usually sometimes writers, they don't need to put these type of stuff in where, like, they think a little bit more on other stuff, but it shows a better writer, because a good writer would think more about not only just big details, but also even small details to make sense of everything that's happening. But then they get to the place, They pull up the one of the guys that he's talking to get the hotel room. He's trying to get two of them. The guy's trying to screw him over, so he kind of goes savage mode. He grabs him and he pulls him to the bars, and he has his gun out. And he's like, "What did you say? Are you gonna make it 30,000 or are you gonna lower it?" He's like, "Okay, I'll just lower it. Calm down, man." He lowers it to 5,000, which I thought was cool because it's showing Grollo he's a little bit more of an aggressive type of character. He's not like a soft passive character. I saw somewhere somebody made a video talking about it, saying that he is not good, but he's also not bad, and that he's a complex character. So we're gonna probably find out more about him. But he's definitely not like this nice soft guy. I mean, it makes sense. He's from the demon realm. So then he's like, "Yeah, give me the rooms." So they're gonna get it. But Goku's like, "You know what? I'm kind of hungry. Can we leave and go eat?" And then the guy's like, "Yeah, there's a bar down there. You guys can go get some burgers." Goku said, "Okay." So they go to eat. Goku's trying to get a bunch of food. He's eating, and the other demons, they're around there. They're kind of like, they're just a bunch of like thugs and bandits. They're all wearing like bandanas. They all look like they just don't like what's happening because Goku is an outsider, and already they're like demons and they're criminals and stuff like that. So it makes sense. And they are in the lowest part of the demon world, which makes sense since they are pretty much like bottom of the barrel, like scum, like level demons. So it makes sense. But as Goku is there and Supreme Kai is there, these guys do not like Goku because he's not from their world. He has round ears and they're kind of trying to like push him and bully him. But Grollo is stepping up and he starts like telling them to back off. He beats the crap out of them. He's beat the shit out of them, and then they go after Goku directly. And then Goku's like, "You know what? This is good training. I'm gonna just use this." And he starts whooping the shit out of them. He starts doing flips. He jumps down. He elbows one guy in the back. It looks really great. He like sweeps the other guy. He kicks the other guy. He gets the plates and he starts blocking his punches and then stopping it and clapping his head with it. And he starts taking them out while he's eating. So he's trying to eat while fighting, and he is, like I said, slowed down due to the fact that there's gas. Basically slows down their body, and he's in his base, so obviously he's not at his top speed, but he is still fighting really well, showing his skill, just beating the crap out of them. They can't do anything to him, so he's fighting them while trying to eat, and he's enjoying this because he's getting a good fight, and he's getting more used to the environment and comfortable, so it's going to be better for him as a whole. So he's been doing back and forth. He does a lot of cool moves. I like the choreography in this one. It wasn't anything too crazy, but like it was just a regular bar fight against, some demons, so it makes sense. But it was still pretty well done. Grollo had some pretty good moves too himself, so they finished it. They go eat, they go to sleep. Then they wake up, they're going to go to their ship, but the guys that they beat, the bandits, yesterday, they kind of got petty, so they're like, "You know what, screw it, we're going to steal the ship." So they run and take their ship, and now they're like, "Oh shit, we're stuck here now." Because they're going to first go sleep the night in the hotel, then go, they're going to do that first, but then they want to go eat and then sleep. Then they're going to go to the royal palace to see the third king, which Goma is the first king. So they're going to go see the third king. And the previous king, they said, was Deborah there, which, once again, now I'm a little confused. Like, is there like minor kings for each dimension and then there's one major one for all of them? I don't know how the structure works, but they'll probably explain a little bit more later on. But what happened, like I said, since they took their ship, they were supposed to go to the king and talk to him because that was his mission. He was sent there by the third king, which we haven't seen yet who this person is, how they look. But they wanted him to go there, so now that they're stuck there, they need to find a way to get their ship back and get to there. So I'm pretty sure the next episode is pretty much just going to be Goku, Supreme Kai, and Rolo trying to find the bandits, beat the crap out of them, take the ship, and get to the king. And then they're going to come across other people, and hopefully they do show a little bit of the other characters that are still on Earth, trying to finish the ship with Momo and trying to go there with to find them, but they just got there, so I don't think they're going to be done right away. I think they're still going to be kind of working on it. But I think mostly they're going to mainly focus on Goku and Supreme Kai and stuff. So that was pretty much the episode. Like I said, not too much stuff happening in it, but it was still pretty fun and enjoyable. They had a fun little bar fight in the end. Grollo was pretty cool. He was pretty badass. The explanation on the 3 different worlds, I think that's pretty unique and interesting concept. And like I said, it depends. If it's like, there are 3 separate universes that are all composed of the Demon Realm. So the Demon Realm composes of 3 separate whole universes. Then it will upscale the cosmology and the power scaling. But if it's just they're interconnected, then it would lower it. Also, one thing I forgot to mention before I end this video, when they do come there, they see this hole and there's this light around it. There's this yellow light, and basically it was stated by Supreme had this light basically if you go through this hole, you can go through the other worlds. So the second and the first demon world, if you go through there. So that's why I'm kind of confused. I'm like, are they separate universes? Or are they just one universe separated in three different sectors? Because that could kind of make sense with that thing there being a separate sector, or that could just be when they go through there, just like how when they go at warp sama, they basically transport and warp into another universe. So it could either just be a hole that they go to get on the other side. So it's kind of like three layers of universes stacked on top of each other. So you can just go through it directly, like how you saw, if any of you guys watched King Kong versus Godzilla, the first one, they went through the Hollow Earth and stuff, and then they went to the underplace. It might be like that, or it might be they go through there, and as they go there, it transports them like it's kind of like a portal to the next world. But the light was there to stop them, so they couldn't go. So they have to find another way to get there, and they're gonna first talk to the king about what he's gonna do, because they have to get to the first world to stop him, because that's where Dende is. But that was pretty interesting. Like I said, all the stuff they showed us, everything that they stated was pretty cool. I just can't wait to see the next episodes. I forgot how long they said this Dragon Ball Daima was going to be, but right now it's actually pretty good. Some people might be a little bit judgmental and saying, oh, it's kind of boring, but personally for me, I do like the first episode the most, but these two episodes aren't bad. It's just building up. Some shows take some time, you know. Some people are very impatient, you know. It's funny because you watch something like One Piece that has over 1,000 episodes, and a lot of the episodes are nothing happening in it. And then this show has like one or two episodes that are still building up, and everybody's being like very critical. And I know I was really critical on the show before it came out, but like I said, I did the same thing for Dragon Ball Super when it came out too, and then I started to defend it, and then I went against it, but whatever. But I'm trying to be fair and non-biased. And from what I'm seeing, I'm thinking of this as a non-canon story, so I don't really care if things don't make much sense. I just like to see what, you know, more lore that they give us and the cool stuff and the animation and the fights. I know the only reason I was really mad about it was simply due to the fact that I wanted Dragon Ball Super to come back instead of something like this. But I didn't hate the idea as a whole. I just didn't like the fact that they were snubbing that for something else. But besides that, I think it's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. I know a lot of people are very critical and stuff like that. I'm not going to be that critical because, like I said, there's a lot of shows that haven't, you know, had a lot of stuff in the beginning, but it picks on afterwards. And this is building up, which is good, you know. And if I'm being honest, I already still like it more than GT. And I'm kind of liking it more than Dragon Ball Super right now. I'm not saying it's like as great as Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, but it's definitely, for me at least, better than GT and Super right now with just 3 episodes in. I know it's nothing too crazy, but at least they're being consistent. It has a nice flow to the story. I think it's building up the world a lot more. We're getting more understanding of the cosmology and all this other stuff. And we're just going to learn more and more. And we're finally touching upon something that I always wanted to touch upon, was the Demon Realm and these other places and these other dimensions, because we've seen quite a bit of the afterlife, a little bit of heaven, somewhat of Grand Kai's planet, mainly in the, the filler episodes. But we didn't see enough about this. We've had it mentioned before, and I made the whole, when I was talking about the Goku Black arc, I said that they could have made Zamasu from there, but now seeing as how they're explaining it, as the Supreme Kais are from the Demon Realm, then technically, that story that I thought of with, Zamasu being from the Demon Realm, technically was already a thing, and it was already true that he was from there. It's just that they went to the Supreme Kai realm and stuff. But then now it's kind of confuses me, because Toriyama before said there's Kaioshin and then Makaioshin. Makaioshin are the evil ones, and the Kaioshin are the good ones. But then now they're both from the Demon Realm, so I don't know. But we'll hopefully find out more about that later. But I'm really enjoying this show. I wonder what you guys think about this show. Do you guys like it? Did you like episode 3? I really enjoyed it. And what are you guys expecting? What do you want from the series as a whole to talk about or focus on? Because I think there's a lot of interesting things they can get into when it comes to this story as a whole. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for next time.